Seventh day of the first moon, 59 AC. In the 7th year of King Jaehaerys Targaryen's reign, Sir Eustace Hightower returned to Oldtown nearly 3 years after vanishing west of the Sunset Sea with Lady Elissa Farman. Lady Meredith entered the Whispering Sound beneath damaged sails and with a hull so crudely repaired that several shipwrights later claimed portions of her timbers were not of any wood known in Westeros. Of the 78 men who sailed aboard Lady Meredith in 56 AC, only 9 returned to Oldtown 3 years later. Sir Eustace himself was said to appear older by 20 years. His hair had gone partly grey, his skin darkened by southern suns, and he spoke little of what had occurred beyond the Sunset Sea. Stranger still was the cargo carried within Lady Meredith's hold. Several oily black stone objects wrapped in chains and heavy sailcloth, which no man in Oldtown could satisfactorily identify. His surviving journals and charts were later copied at the Citadel by Maester Crelin. Many pages had been damaged beyond repair by seawater. Several passages, according to the Maester's later notes, appear to have been deliberately removed. What follows is drawn from the surviving journals of Sir Eustace Hightower, captain of Lady Meredith, who sailed west with Lady Elissa Farman in 56 AC and vanished beyond the Sunset Sea for nearly 3 years.
16th day of the third moon, 56 AC. Oldtown Harbor. A Braavosi-built ship has anchored beneath the high tower. She is called Sun Chaser. I have seen war galleys from Lys and swan ships from the Summer Isles enter Oldtown before, but never a vessel built quite like this one. 4 masts, no oars, deep hull, broad beam. A ship meant for long waters. The harbor speaks of little else. 18th day of the third moon, 56 AC. Oldtown. My grandsire summoned Norman and me to his hall this morning regarding the Braavosi ship anchored beneath the high tower. The woman, calling herself Alice Westhill, has drawn too much attention in too little time. Lord Donald questioned us closely regarding the vessel, her crew, and her purpose in Oldtown, before ordering us to learn more of her intentions. 19th day of the third moon, 56 AC. Oldtown Harbor. Norman and I met the mysterious Captain Alice Westhill today. Following our grandsire's orders, we questioned her in the harbor about her intentions. "To sail farther west than any ship has sailed before," she answered. Several men laughed openly at this. She did not. She dressed more like a seasoned shipmaster than any woman I had previously encountered in Oldtown. My younger brother, Norman, later declared her either the bravest woman in Westeros or the most foolish. I have not yet decided which. 20th day of the third moon, 56 AC. Oldtown Harbor. Alice Westhill invited us aboard to inspect Sun Chaser. The vessel is no folly. Additional water casks line the lower hold nearly to the beams. Spare timber, sailcloth, and rope have been secured throughout the ship with unusual care. The smell of pitch and salt pork below deck was enough to drive several men back into the open air. A Braavosi carpenter, missing 3 fingers, showed me portions of the reinforced hull. He claimed western storms bite harder than eastern ones. When I asked how he knew this, the man laughed and refused to answer. 21st day of the third moon, 56 AC. Oldtown Harbor. Norman informed our grandsire tonight that he intends to join the voyage west aboard Autumn Moon. Lord Donnell forbade it at once. The quarrel that followed carried through half the hall. My grandsire declared the expedition madness and accused Captain Alice Westhill of leading fools toward their deaths. Norman answered that no Hightower had ever earned glory remaining safely in harbor. I do not think either man expected me to side with Norman. Yet after seeing Sun Chaser with my own eyes, I find myself increasingly unwilling to remain ashore while others sail west into unknown seas. Before the night was done, I had ordered my ship, Lady Meredith, provisioned for the voyage west as well. My grandsire spoke no further to either of us. 22nd day of the third moon, 56 AC, Oldtown Harbor. The harbor remained restless throughout the day. Norman spent much of the evening aboard Autumn Moon, overseeing final preparations for departure, while Lord Donnell refused to speak further with either of us. Ravens arrived from King's Landing shortly after nightfall. Captain Alice Westhill is in truth Lady Elissa Farman of Faircastle. Rumors of royal warrants and stolen dragon eggs quickly spread. By midnight, armed men had begun moving along the docks beneath the Hightower. Norman laughed when the truth reached us and declared our voyage suddenly far more interesting than before. My grandsire did not share his amusement. 23rd day of the third moon, 56 AC. Whispering sound. Lady Elissa Farman boarded Sun Chaser before sunrise. Favorable winds and confusion within the harbor allowed our three ships to escape Oldtown before Lord Donnell's pursuing fleet could properly form. There are 245 souls between our three ships. The men remain in good spirits. Watt lost 2 fingers to a pulley line before midday. Hobber nearly struck Lem with a ladle for stealing dried apples from the stores. Lady Elissa stood upon the stern castle through most of the morning, watching the city fade behind us. She spoke little. Tonight, one sailor swore he glimpsed strange maps spread across the captain's table aboard Sun Chaser. I suspect half the tales surrounding her are nonsense. Yet I confess, I have never met a person more certain of her course. 24th day of the third moon, 56 AC. South of the Arbor, ships bearing the Hightower banner appeared shortly after dawn. 12 in all. Some among the crews feared we would be forced back to Oldtown before nightfall. They underestimated Sun Chaser. Once the winds strengthened in the afternoon, Lady Elissa's vessel began steadily widening the distance between herself and the pursuing fleet. Though Lady Meredith and Autumn Moon were forced to sail hard to avoid being overtaken. By dusk, the pursuing fleet had remained behind us for most of the day, and I ordered my first mate, Sir Lyman Costain, to extinguish all lanterns and keep full sail through the night. Several men slept beside the ropes where they worked, rather than return below deck. 25th day of the third moon, 56 AC. Sunset Sea. By morning, the pursuing ships were nowhere to be seen upon the horizon. Whether my grandsire's ships proved too slow to catch us or too reluctant, I cannot say. Lady Elissa altered course shortly thereafter, steering south by southwest beyond routes known to most aboard. Twice during the day, Sun Chaser shortened sail to allow Autumn Moon and Lady Meredith to catch up and regain formation. The old Westerosi navigator aboard Sun Chaser claims the western currents ahead will carry us faster than any wind. When asked how he knows this, he answered only, "Because they always have."
Maester Craylan's later notes suggest several of Lord Donald's captains became separated during the night pursuit west of the Arbor and were unable to relocate Lady Meredith, Autumn Moon, or Sun Chaser by dawn. Most turned back east shortly thereafter.
27th day of the third moon, 56 AC. Sunset Sea. Dozens of fishing vessels crossed our path today. Flying fish now pass beside the hull in great silver schools. The stars appear sharper here than east of the Arbor. Our navigator, Osmond Seri, insists they remain true. 29th day of the third moon, 56 AC. Sunset Sea. The winds remain favorable. Sun Chaser now spends much of each day well ahead of our two ships, before shortening sail toward evening, so the fleet may remain together. Norman claims the good weather is proof the gods favor our voyage. 30th day of the third moon, 56 AC. Sunset Sea. Only a handful of fishing vessels crossed our path today before vanishing eastward. I suspect we may not see any at all tomorrow. The heat below deck worsens daily. Hobber claims onions from Oldtown have already begun spoiling in the stores, and several men complained the pitch between the deck planks had grown soft beneath the sun. Two sailors nearly came to blows during the night watch, after arguing over whether we had drifted farther south than intended. Second day of the fourth moon, 56 AC. Sunset Sea. Near midday, we sighted a vessel unlike any most aboard had ever seen. It proved to be a whaler out of Ib. The Ibonese stared at our three ships as though we were the madmen, though they were the ones hunting whales so far from the known world. Fifth day of the fourth moon, 56 AC. Sunset Sea. Now 12 days out of port, our navigator, Osmond Seri, estimated us to be as far south as the Summer Islands, and further west than any Westerosi sailor was known to have gone before. I met with Norman and Elissa, who both concurred. At sunset, the three ships were drawn together by rope and plank, while the men celebrated upon the decks beneath clear skies and calm seas. Songs were heard from Autumn Moon well into the night. Several reserve casks of Arbor Red were opened, despite Hobber's objections. Norman wagered he could climb the rigging one-handed after finishing 3 cups. He succeeded. Sixth day of the fourth moon, 56 AC. Sunset Sea. The celebrations aboard the three ships continued late into the night, though by morning the mood had changed noticeably. Several sailors remarked that the sea had become strangely still during the night. Others argued over our true position. Even the gulls that had followed the fleet for days were nowhere to be seen by afternoon. The wind weakened steadily throughout the day before vanishing entirely by evening. 9th day of the 4th moon, 56 AC. Sunset Sea. The wind abandoned us 3 days ago. Since then, the men have hauled the ships westward by rowboat in slow and miserable fashion beneath relentless heat. Tempers worsen by the day. Hobber claims the fresh water already tastes stale. Norman insists the calm cannot last forever. The sea remains empty. No birds for 4 days.